big companies. They come to our land, pollute it, desecrate it. The bottom line is always about money.
You know what I like about people like you is that you always put yourself first. Now work with me and I guarantee your name will be written in the stars.
Lunamite exploration has been futile.
We made a new, exciting discovery. At 10 a.m. this morning, a group of all-black scientists took a flight to the Skeleton Coast, led by the capable Dr. Samantha Gold.
No. Why are you coming?
I'm a businessman, Samantha. I want to see exactly what the fuck you're doing with my money.
They'll be attempting to discover the very rare Lunamite, which has eluded the science world for over 70 years. We believe will greatly advance the world of technology. Are you with me?
I miss you.
Then help me.
Let's not forget the elephant in the room. If the Lunamite even exists, someone would have found it by now.
It contains high properties of radioactive elements, higher than uranium and iridium.
You saw the atomic structure. 134. What are they going to do with this thing? If somebody else finds the stone, what then?
Now, I don't need to sell myself to you. You know exactly what I can do.
Get the hell off our land!
Let me remind you, I am the fucking boss.
You are a joke. A little fish is about to be circled by hungry sharks.
You think anybody's gonna believe you when you tell them you found the Lunamite?
Say one more word.
Our land is sacred, and it should be treated that way.
Absolutely beautiful views of that trailer we just watched there. Of course, that was produced and shot in Namibia. And Tjuna, Kauapirurua, Daringo and Panashe Daringo, the talented filmmaking duo behind the critically acclaimed film that is Skeleton Coast, sit down with us tonight to discuss their latest project that premiered at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival. As the founders of Manjula Studios, a film production company based in Namibia, they have been making waves in the international film scene with their unique storytelling and visually stunning production. Very good evening to you both. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
I must say, I'm very privileged to be sitting down with you guys tonight because what a film. I don't know, it's so clean. But first of all, congratulations to you on the success of the premiere of the film Skeleton Coast in the Cannes. Tjuna, just tell us about that experience of how the premiere went, please.
Okay, so we had the trailer premiere.
Yeah.
The movie premiere is still coming. So the trailer premiere, I think we received a lot of good feedback. You know, having been there, and also we invited quite a few people to attend the event who were at the Cannes Festival.
Right.
And the feedback was overwhelming, and we got to network a lot. We got some positive feedback. And also we learned a lot as well about just the festival itself, and it was interesting to see other filmmakers and other basically directors, producers, actors, all in the same space, just having a different type of energy. So that was also very inspiring and motivating at the same time. So it was quite the experience for me.
I can imagine. And Daringo, just perhaps also share with us what your experience was at the film premiere, at the trailer premiere rather, a global stage. You know, having international recognition. What was it like for you?
Oh, it was unreal, eh? I mean, a year ago today, we had an idea. You know, a year later, we've got a sort of massive film on this massive platform, and you've got 15,000 people sort of, you know, in attendance in the town. So it's overwhelming, but it's also very humbling as well. So it was really an eye opener, and to see so many people, as she said, sort of coming together under the lens of film, is beautiful.
Absolutely. Let's talk about, you know, the inspiration behind the whole film, Skeleton Coast. What message was the film really trying to portray? With, you know, of course, looking at a bit of mining and everything else happening, but what's the real message behind this film?
Yeah, so I think the idea was, you know, no one can tell our stories better than we can. Right. You know, you've got a lot of Hollywood films that talk about Africa, and they're acted by Hollywood sort of stars. With Skeleton, we wanted to bring out Africa in its truest sort of form, but we wanted to tell international stories using the Africa landscape. So you'll notice that, when you talk about Nigerian films, there's a connotation attached to them. In this case, we wanted to demystify that and brings out something that people can be proud of. And to do that, we had a local Namibian actor leading it in the form of Tjuna. And we had Eric Roberts supporting as a supporting act, which is something you never see normally.
Big.
Quite often you have, a Hollywood actor leading, and you have the sort of local supporting, and we wanted to flip it around and really be in the driving seat.
Absolutely, and I can't fathom to just speak about how well we saw the trailer there and how well they really act. I really can't wait to see how the movie even unfolds. But Tjuna, let's talk about the both of you being co-directors and producers. How do you divide responsibilities when it comes to producing or collaborate effectively on a project on this scale?
Well, first of all, it was difficult to divide the responsibilities because of sort of the location that we had. We sort of had to be all hands on deck, right? But especially for me, it was very important playing one of also the assistant directors to make sure that the talent was well taken care of. Nobody had been to Namibia, and everybody was experiencing Namibia for the first time, but then also they were experiencing shooting in such an isolated location. I mean, Windhoek is 8 hours away from where we were shooting. And we were so far away from all the important amenities, and so we had to ensure that they're comfortable and that they're also well taken care of.
That's right.
So it was interesting, but at the same time, I think we had a good team that was really they brought the best foot forward in the best version that they could, considering the tough locations that we did have.
Absolutely. And Panashe, I want to touch with you, of course, looking at this whole film. It's quite interesting that it's actually about, like I mentioned, the mining, the oil and gas is happening so timely at the time that, this is quite a big topic right now in Namibia. Was that an aim? Was that a target, in terms of looking at the distribution of that, as well as trying to tell the Namibian story from that aspect as well?
100%, yeah. So, I mean, it's relevant stories today, and it's issues that we're facing today. We've got issues around conflict. We've got issues around various sort of persons fighting against each other. And it was important that we try and articulate those stories in an engaging way, because it's challenges that we face today but aren't always told, and we're not always in charge of being able to tell those stories. So it was intentional, but it's not really where the core story is. I mean, that was really sort of the undertone, and there's a bigger story behind it.
Absolutely. Tjuna, I want to touch with you. Of course, we did speak off the cuff just a while ago that, you spent 3 months shooting this film. Talk to us about how that experience was for you.
We shot for 3 weeks.
3 weeks? So it's not 3 months, it's 3 weeks. My goodness.
Basically.
3.5 weeks.
What?
And, so we had a tight schedule. You can imagine all these international acts obviously have other projects that they're working on. So we had such a limited time for production because they had other responsibilities to go to. So to get everybody in one space together and finish something as big as this, it was we had to really work with the time that was against us.
Wow, 3 weeks is a short period, but such a very amazing thing that you guys have brought to life there. Let's talk about some of the challenges, Panashe, that you perhaps experienced when you're shooting this. What were some of those that you picked up and really learned from, going forward as you try to produce more films in the future?
Yeah, so I think there were. So first off, hats off to all filmmakers. I think it's one of the most underrated sort of career out there. I think that the big challenges that I'd sort of lean to are more structural. Africa has got a population of 1.4 billion, depending on what sort of indexes you look at. But if you look at the actual reach we have, we only have 50%, 48% access to banking, and we have, call it 1.5% access to broadband. So what that means is, from a marketing point of view, people won't probably see your movie. Very different from Europe. So how do you tell a story that captures the African story, but is relevant globally? And I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges we had, and I think Africa and Namibia will continue to have. Our 3 million people won't move the needle on a big film. So we need to figure out how do we become relevant on the bigger platforms, on the international stages. I think that's going to be our biggest challenge because it's a structural one.
Yeah.
The others are a little bit easier. We struggle to get equipment.
Right.
You know, you can imagine it's difficult to get sort of internationally approved cameras into Namibia. So importing those, we shot this film in a park, in the Skeleton Coast Park. So permits there was challenging. Visas to get sort of crew and cast down was a challenge. We got a lot of support from the National Namibian Film Commission, but it's still a challenge, and I think there's still areas that we can sort of work and improve on. But overall, I think our bigger issues are more structural.
Very well. Lastly, the big question is, when can we see this film on the screens? Everybody wants to know.
Yeah, that's the biggest question that we have right now. So we are still in post-production.
Right.
Hopefully we will be finished with post-production end of June. However, we are still in negotiations with the platforms as well. So we would like to finalize those before we can officially announce a premiere date. The dream is to premiere globally on an international platform, if not on an international film festival. And then, we'll see from there. But we are aiming towards September, if not end of September.
Ah, interesting.
But hopefully this year still.
Absolutely. Quite exciting times. Thank you so much, both of you, for making the time to talk to us this evening. And all the best with the post-production. Of course, we can't wait to see this on all our screens, not only in Namibia, of course, internationally as well. But congratulations once again, and thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I was speaking to Tjuna Kauapirurua, as well as that is Panashe Daringo, who of course are the talent behind the building up of this amazing film called that is Skeleton Coast. We were just watching this trailer a bit of a while ago, but thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is also wrapping up the today's edition of Daily Roundup with me, Johnny Konja. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. From the rest of the crew, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye for now.
The problem I have with these big companies